Welcome back to my mango cutting series. It's not a seedling as I discussed in my previous episodes. So this is 2024 January. It's fared really poorly since the last transplant, and you can see all this webbing here but no spiders. But you can see little dots that are perhaps fifth instar spider mites, if that's how many instars they have. And this spider mite infestation can compare with the sweet potato one at the beginning of my plant growing series over 10 years ago. So yeah, the meristems, the new leaves look like they've been burned under a cigarette lighter or some kind of fire. So that's just the appearance. So spider mites, they can spin silk. They can fly through the air and travel to other plants, much like spiderlings can, and small spiders in general. And yeah, they are also sort of like mite-like, and they're a very ancient type of plant predator parasite. So they have a proboscis, which is like a needle that they can poke into individual plant cells and suck out the cytoplasm. And I can only imagine that the bigger ones, the fifth instar ones, can probably do that at a very, very rapid pace. And they also reproduce like crazy. So it's 2024 February. The entire cutting appears to be dead. So you can see the leaves are sort of hollowed out and brittle. They've been rotten for so long that despite still being stuck to the stems, they appear to have that same transparency or advanced state of decay that leaves have sitting on the ground on the edge of my front yard for several months. So you can see the bark is cracked open, perhaps everything drying out. You can see a spider mite. I believe that's a spider mite crawling down the trunk. And yeah, you can rewind or just look very closely at the trunk for a lot of this footage to make your own judgment as to whether they're spider mites or not. But I believe a lot of these sort of beige colored dots that you see are actually adult spider mites. And yeah, it's just been completely overrun. I think maybe a lot of them are starving or will try to go elsewhere. As I said, they can spin silk and through their spinnerets and just go somewhere else through the wind and infest something else. So yeah, it's very dastardly species. There's just probably thousands of them out there. So it's April at this point. There was no regeneration, no recovery. Meanwhile, the lemon seedling had already repeatedly tried to send out little shoots, green shoots at the base of its trunk, which is much thicker, and it didn't dry out like this. So it was very obvious that the lemon was going to recover, but the mango wasn't. And yeah, just the appearance of the trunk and how it was all cracked like that, I just instinctively knew, although it's very, very obvious at this point. So let's do an autopsy, a post-mortem of what happened underground, just to make sure it wasn't root rot. And yeah, this new kind of knot tying style for this, but unfortunately it's all irrelevant now. And I'd rather not need stakes for anything. I hate it when my plants won't stand upright on their own, which is unfortunately for garden plants grown in pots and like other kinds of synthetic mediums like cocoa coir. It just tends to happen a lot. And if you fertilize with chemical fertilizers, then there's a tendency for the leaves to become overgrown in size and really weigh down the plant. But I don't think that's the main reason for why everything was just falling over past a certain point of growth. I think this was a cutting, not a seedling. As I think I could have sworn the guy in the nursery who sold me this said it was a seedling. But yeah, like when I saw everything falling over, it's just I just knew. So let's pull everything out here. It's not too wet down there because I didn't water a lot. Plus, at this point, it was already early April. So yeah, there was some resistance, which was a good sign. But unlike with the papaya that suffered from root rot and trunk rot from a very, very wet winter, that doesn't seem to be the case here. So this is the shoot system, because you can see the burned remains of the shoot apical meristems, the leaves, and then that's the trunk. It's all desiccated and withered, and it's actually the root system that's healthiest here. So although it does seem to be a little bit moisture and nutrient deprived, but that's basically to be expected since the shoot system died back so many times. The root system probably ran out of nutrients, so it looks a little thinner there. And without a shoot system to supply carbohydrates or sugars through photosynthesis, the root system will die too because it has nothing to eat. So if you look at the rest of this, the shoot system, the trunk, it's all in much worse shape. So my post-mortem results here indicate that it was actually the shoot system that died. Well, the whole plant died from spider mites. And the root system is, it looks to be okay in some spots, although I'm sure it was gonna all become brittle or mushy pretty soon thereafter. So yeah, I think the lesson here for this series, much like with many of my previous series, is you have to keep spraying pesticide, miticide every nanosecond, otherwise it's all gonna die. So mites, spider mites really like dry and hot conditions, and it's often dry and hot here in San Diego. So even though the weather warmed up, and I held out hope that perhaps things would resprout in spring, it just didn't work out that way. It was too far gone. And for my lemon seedling, yeah, I learned my lesson from a year of neglect in 2023, and I started blasting with some of that Bayer Bio Advanced 3-in-1. It combats disease, mites, and other kinds of pests as well. So regarding pesticide applications, I think using a battery-powered backpack sprayer is a little bit cumbersome. I have to prepare a really big batch, and I might get a little bit of splash here and there, which I don't like the feeling of, to get even the tiniest amount of pesticide around inside my kitchen, on the sink or the counters, stuff like that. And I have to wash it out afterwards. And yeah, so it's a real hassle. I've gone back to using a handheld spray bottle. I think that's really good for spot applications for small examples like this. So this concludes the series. Thanks for watching.